Hi, my name is Bernie Armstrong from the University of New Haven. I'm going to do a quick summary on a book in which I'm reading for a class called Extending Children's Mathematics, Fractions and Decimals, written by Susan Empson and Linda Levi. One of the first things that I was able to see in the book is that children have a tough time, especially U.S. children, with fractions. They definitely have a tough time doing anything that is less than one, to make that rational connection. And so the authors kind of talked about a couple of different concepts to kind of build that young person up to understand the concept of fractions and decimals. First thing they showed is a very strong attraction to story problems or word problems. They kind of felt that those things actually were more rational. It was more tangible for young learners to grasp in terms of concepts. Okay, so that was the first thing that they really saw. So in that very first chapter, they talked about grouping. And grouping was a way to actually connect things to people. So for example, and I kind of did an equal share grouping, which showed 4 children, 3, 4, and 4 candy bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's equal share, and that's easy for a young person to understand. Little do they know they're eventually starting to touch on the concept of fractions. So equal share was really touched upon in chapter 1. Chapter 2 kind of expounded on chapter 1 and talking about equal share. And what would you do if you had a similar situation where now you have those same 4 children, but now you want to introduce 5 candy bars? So now equal share becomes a little bit different for that child. Obviously, they will still go back to their original concept of one kid receiving 1 candy bar each, and that would identify 4 of the candy bars. But that 5th candy bar, now you would have to do something a little bit different than their original concepts. So now they would talk about that equal share concept of taking that 1 candy bar and dividing it into 4 equal parts. Now all of a sudden you've touched on a fraction. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4 of a candy bar, allowing those 4 children to get equal share of 5 separate candy bars. Now when we develop into chapter 3, move on into chapter 3, they actually expand a little bit on it, kind of touching a little bit more on multiplication and more on division of still those same word problems, okay? And they talk a little bit more about multiple group problems. Now multiple group problems still kind of works with a word problem, but now it looks at giving you information and now giving you the opportunity to solve 2 different problems or 3 different problems with that same information. The biggest difference between that and equal share is the fractions are now actually in the problem or in the question, not like equal share, where in equal share they dealt with mostly whole numbers and the fractions were actually on the back end in terms of the answer. So that was the whole concept in terms of chapter 3, in terms of dealing with those types of multiple group problems. Now in terms of relating it back to information that we learned earlier in the semester, I definitely have to refer back to the Penske and Kirshner article in relation to interference of instrumental instruction. They related things to past history. They felt pulling in past knowledge would allow a child to be able to gain new knowledge, and that was kind of touched on in both the book in terms of extending children's mathematics and also in the Penske and Kirshner article. In terms of myself, in terms of my philosophy, in terms of mathematics or in education for that matter, I totally feel that finding relevance in that child, things that kind of can spark that child, past experiences, past knowledge, will always, similar to what both authors felt, will spark new knowledge. So that's definitely one thing that I would personally see in my future and as an educator. So thank you guys for having me today. That was my, I just wanted to do a quick summary of all 3 chapters, and I wanted to definitely touch on some of my past knowledge in working with in our class setting, some of the things that we've learned as a relation to the 3 chapters, and then also wanted to talk about my own philosophy. Thank you.